Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. My name is Scott Morgan, Rant the Motor City Badmouth. Glad to be joined tonight by Mel Farr Jr. Welcome to the program, Mel.
Hey, how's it going? How's everybody doing?
Oh, we're doing all right. Rick, Curti, what's going on up I-85?
Not much. Just had the NBA draft, so I guess exciting times here in Charlotte.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to go to Motown to be with family over Thanksgiving, so my mother is in tough health. My goal is to get back, spend a little time with her, and go from there. So it's time to get away a little bit and do the family thing since we're isolated here in South Florida. Anyways, with that said, okay, great segue, Rick Curti. The Charlotte Hornets have selected LeMelo Ball, third overall pick, and obviously he'll be with Michael Jordan. So will this pick work out for Michael Jordan? He's had some pretty interesting picks, and a lot of them haven't been very good over there with the Hornets.
Yeah, we can add this one to the trash pile as well. It's not going to work out. This is probably one of the worst drafts in the NBA it's had in a long time. I think. Remember that Anthony Bennett draft where he went number one and he was a massive, massive bust. Probably one of the worst number one picks ever in NBA history. And this draft reminded me of that. It's just no star appeal, in my opinion. I don't see any franchise players, just a lot of young, raw kids, like 19, 20. The best guy that went was for the Knicks, and apparently a lot of teams didn't want him because he's all of 22 years old. But with LeMelo Ball, I just don't see it. I just don't think he's old. I think he's overrated. His brother, to me, is a big old bust with when he was with the Lakers, and I just don't see it. He's small. He needs to put on a lot of muscle. His shooting is not the greatest in the world. I just don't see it. I just think it's just the ball Kool-Aid that Michael Jordan, he wants to make a big splash, and he was probably like the splashiest player, in an incredibly, incredibly weak draft. He never should have gone as high as he did. If this was like a decent, deep draft, he wouldn't have gone that far. So I don't see it. A lot of people are like, we'll see what happens. But, it's Michael Jordan, and he's just not a good owner. And his picks have not been the best. Kemba Walker's the best pick he ever had, and he's gone now. Now he's with New Orleans. So we'll see, but I don't have a lot of faith in this pick at all.
Mel, what are your thoughts about LeMelo Ball?
I think that their dad, LeVar, did what he was supposed to do. I mean, I think he's the Kim Kardashian of basketball. He, went out there and was willing to put himself out there, and do whatever he had to do in order to get his kids to where he had dreamed or envisioned them to be, to set them up for life. And he's done that. He's done a great job of marketing his boys. He's done a wonderful job of that. He had one that was drafted number 2. Unfortunately, the middle kid, things didn't work out for him. I don't know how things may have worked out for him had he stayed at UCLA and got an opportunity to play a little bit at UCLA. Maybe he would have gotten drafted. But they always say that LeMelo was the best one out of the 3, and usually a lot of times that's the case with the younger one because he's always getting beat up by the older guys, the older kids, and he is kind of more mature in his skills probably than they were because he's been playing with them forever. He's always been playing up because he's playing against his brothers. So having said that, haven't seen the kid play a whole lot. He's got an unorthodox shooting style similar to his brother, but he does shoot free throws a lot better than his brother does. So, I mean, that's promising. But to Rick's point, Michael Jordan hasn't done a very good job of drafting. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if Michael Jordan really wants to win. I just think he likes owning the team, and that's about it. I don't know if he's truly committed to winning. So we'll have to see. But, I didn't watch a whole lot of the draft because I'm not really familiar with a lot of these players. We didn't have the tournament this year, so you don't get the opportunity. We didn't get an opportunity. Well, it started, but then it ended. So we really didn't get an opportunity to see a lot of these kids. I know the kid that went second, he played like 3 games, and they declared him ineligible, so he decided he wasn't going to play, or he had to miss some games. I think he could have played last year, but he just decided he just opted not to play. I know the kid that went number 1 and went down here from Georgia. haven't heard much about him, but obviously they've been writing a lot about him lately and his potential. And that's the worst thing you can say about somebody is potential, because that means you haven't lived up to expectations, people's expectations of you. So we'll have to see how it pans out. Obviously, there's always going to be some good players in there in the draft that we've never heard of, because you look at the drafts in the past, and there've been some players that people weren't real high on, like Chris Paul. I know Atlanta had an opportunity to draft Chris Paul. They weren't real high on him, thought it was too high to take him at that particular time. And I think they took like Marvin Williams or something like that instead of taking Chris Paul. And now you look at Chris Paul and you look what he's done, and you look at Marvin Williams and what he's done. So we'll see. I'm sure there's some guys in there that are going to come out, turn out to be some pretty good ball players in this draft.
Yeah, I know LeMelo Ball played professionally down in Australia, so I do know that the competition's pretty good down in Australia. But me, personally, I think that with Jordan drafting Kwame Brown, I believe was one of his picks, Frank Kaminsky, those haven't really worked out, although I thought Kaminsky could have worked out. But you actually wonder whether LeMelo Ball's there not only to play basketball, but to put people in the stands, too, for an organization looking to draw. So, you wonder whether or not they'll put some fannies in these stands when they do finally go ahead and let fans in. So with that said, we'll talk about fans. San Francisco has rejected the Warriors' plan to host fans at games. They were looking at initially 50% capacity, and then allowing 25% is still on the table. That's if San Francisco's COVID-19 cases decline. All right, Mel, what are your thoughts about the situation in San Francisco?
Well, I think that had we not had this spike in COVID, maybe that would have changed. But now, COVID is out of control. What are they supposed to do? And you're talking about an indoor arena versus something being outdoors. So yeah, I don't think they really didn't have a choice with the way that COVID is going. It's out of control right now, and our leadership is in his bedroom, in his feelings, with his head in the sand. We have no direction. So people folks are having to do what they feel is best for their community. And, with what's going on right now in California, that's obviously the only decision that they can make.
Rick, what's your take on this?
Well, we need to get COVID in control. And unfortunately, like Mel said, our leadership is MIA. He's gone. And it seems like we have to fend for ourselves. And, it depends. We have to look at the governors, what they're doing. And some governors are, doing what they need to do. And others are just like, screw it, And so we'll see. We just got to get this thing under control. And if we can get it under control, then, we can have more fans in there or not. But, they're going to have to, because, they can't go another year without any fans or any support, because they'll go bankrupt. That's a unfortunate thing. People have lost. This has affected everybody. And the NBA's lost billions of dollars, just like Major League Baseball. So, we first got to get this under control, and hopefully with the new administration coming in, we will. And I feel confident we will. And right now it's just so bad and so out of control, and we have to fend for ourselves.
Yeah, well, there's no question. You have a lame duck president who isn't going to win any lawsuits anyways to this election term. So you're right. We have a 60-day window where lack of leadership probably sums up the best. All right, Rex, the point of the show where you get your rant of the day, and you can rant on Robinson Cano being suspended for the year due to PEDs. My goodness.
Yeah, he's an idiot. What a waste. When he was with the Yankees, he was such a great player. Never should have left New York, but he got greedy and went to Seattle. Didn't really do much there. Was not a big surprise. And then he goes to the Mets again, and then he gets popped again. And you think you would learn from your first mistake not to do it. He said the first time he took it was an over-the-counter, whatever. They give you a list of what to take and what not to take and all that stuff. So there's really no excuse that he took something by accident, but then he does it again. And so, the guy is just obviously a liar and a cheater. So, Robinson Cano and Major League Baseball, I would say this to Major League Baseball, just ban him. Just ban him. 1 strike, 2 strikes. I know they're into the 3 strikes thing, but just get rid of him. I mean, it's just ridiculous. You know, he's put a horrible stain in it. It's the most stupidest thing you can do. He's lost like $28 million that he's going to lose this season because of it. And I just ban him already. I mean, he's not going to learn his lesson. He doesn't care. You know, he's getting money off of you guys and from the team. You know, and it's just it's stupid. You're never going to get away with it. I remember Manny Ramirez was another one that was taking so much stuff, and it was either Manny's cheating or he's pregnant. You know, come on. So so Robinson Cano, he just needs to go away. He needs to be banned from baseball, because he's going to do it again. He's not going to learn his lesson. You know, because they're so arrogant. They think they can get away with it so many times. So for Major League Baseball, just get rid of Robinson Cano, and let's just forget about him. He's just a complete and utter loser.
Okay, we'll leave it at that, since that's your rant. Okay, now we'll stay in your neck of the woods with Christian McCaffrey. Talk about paying running backs a lot of money, and then what do you think happens? They get hurt. So Christian McCaffrey not expected to play against the Lions. Of course, we know Teddy Bridgewater isn't going to, and Matthew Stafford's going in with a bum thumb. So, but Mel, what's your take about Christian McCaffrey?
Well, you know, he's not a big guy. You know, he's not a big back. He's only about maybe 210, 205, 210, something like that. And so he's not a bell cow, even though, you can't give him all those carries and expect that, he's going to have that type of durability. I mean, I think he even had some injury issues while he was at Stanford because of the way that they used him there as well. And it's unfortunate. It seems like whenever a running back is paid and they get hurt, and that just makes it tougher for the guy coming behind as far as getting contract is concerned. But, it's part of the game. Injuries are a part of the game. They got to manage it. They got to figure it out. Really, they should be trying to split the carries with him, utilize him in the areas that he's strongest, make sure that you do everything you possibly can to keep this kid healthy, because obviously the team is going to go as he goes, because, I've never been a Teddy Bridgewater fan. And I think, he's one of those kind of guys. He probably needs – the best thing that could happen to Teddy Bridgewater is for him to go learn under and study under Bruce Arians, because he's not a risk. He's not a risk it kind of guy. Like Bruce Arians says, no risk it, no biscuit. He wants you to go ahead and throw the ball out there. And Jameis Winston had no problems throwing it out there. Teddy is very conservative. I've never been much. A lot of people have been high on Teddy Bridgewater. I've never been real high on Teddy Bridgewater. He really needs a good running game behind him. He had that for a period of time while he was there in Minnesota. Obviously, he had that very bad knee injury, and is coming back from it. But the team is going to go as Christian McCaffrey goes. So it's unfortunate that he's injured right now, and because they're relying and they're depending on him about quite a bit, because he's going to be a large portion of that offense.
Yeah, well, but when you pay a running back a substantial amount of money, Mel, and then they get banged up, don't GMs scratch their head about it, since the position is being devalued financially?
He's a different kind of a back. You got to get the ball to him in different kind of ways. Get the ball to him in space. Utilize his unique athletic abilities. Yeah, I mean, maybe every now and then to keep teams honest, you might go ahead and run him up the middle. But I think I didn't see how he got injured, and I don't know what his injury is right now, but I know he was out for a high ankle sprain earlier. I didn't see how that injury happened. I don't know what's going on with him right now. What does he have, a little knee problem right now? What's going on with him right now?
I think he's got a shoulder problem, doesn't he?
And that's football's a tough game. You look at Drew Brees and how he got slammed to the turf, and that busted some ribs and punctured a lung. It's a tough game, and it's definitely tough when you're old. So he's got those brittle bones and whatnot. So it's definitely tougher when you get older. But yeah, it's unfortunate. It seems that way. It doesn't always happen that way. It seems that when a running back gets paid, he gets hurt, but that's not really what happens. In some cases, they don't get hurt. It's just unfortunate in this particular case that he signed a nice contract and he's hurt.
He got paid. So what are they saying about Christian McCaffrey in Charlotte, Rick?
They're frustrated because they want to see him play, but everybody knows that the Panthers are not. We're not going to go to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl, or probably not go to the playoffs, stuff like that. And right now, Carolina, he's been hurt and banged up, but they want to protect their investment. They put so much money in him, and he's really the big star of the team, because Cam's not there, Greg Olson's gone, Luke Kuechly retired. They pretty much just started it all over again with a whole new coaching staff, now that Matt Rule's there. So he's been banged up, but they're not going to risk anything because they paid him so much money, and he's the face of their franchise right now. So I don't have a problem with it because, nobody expected – everyone thought the Panthers would, get the number one pick and get Trevor Lawrence. And then we started out really good, and now we're when I praised them, they haven't won a game since. So we'll see what happens with him. He's just banged up. It's just one of these nagging injuries that he keeps getting, and then he comes back and gets another nagging injury. But Carolina just wants to protect their investment because they paid him so much money, and they don't want him to go out and look what's going on with Klay Thompson. It's awful when things like that happen. It's just frustrating. And so, hopefully he'll be recovering next season. This is a very unusual football season. It's been a very unusual year. But I look at the Panthers like they're just protecting their investment, and they're not going to risk him and get his knee blown out. And, oh, great, we're going to lose him for another season.
Okay. We'll go from one current Panther to a former one. Cam Newton has led the New England Patriots to 2 straight wins. They're 4-5. Yeah. All right, so it looks like now Cam Newton is finally getting in sync together with the Patriots. Had that COVID issue for a while, had a little tough stretch. And Bill Belichick is gleaming about him, Mel. Does he have a good reason to gleam? And do the Patriots have a puncher's chance to get to the playoffs?
Well, I think what they've done lately is that they have been playing towards their strengths. They've been running the football. The kid out of Alabama that's in the second year, Damian Williams, I believe his name is. He's played very, very well. I don't think it's Damian Williams, but it's a kid. His first name is Damian, but he came from Alabama, and he's been running the ball very well. Burkhead's been running the ball. He's been slamming his head up in there. He's been running the ball well. So they're doing what they do well, which is run the football and try to play some decent defense. And when they need to make a play on third down, then Cam is able to do that, whether it be through the air or with his legs. Obviously you're going to like New England because of Bill Belichick and, the things that, his resume and what he's been able to do in the past. Obviously they don't have Tom Brady piloting the ship, but I like Cam. He is a former MVP. He does have a lot of talent. And so, I'd like to see what they can do, what Cam can do with this talent and what Bill Belichick can do with this talent and see, how far they can go. Now, obviously, they're in a division that, Miami's playing well this year. Buffalo is, they're tough. The Jets are the Jets. So, it's not going to be, it's a tough division. Football is a tough game. It's going to be tough. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. I don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to keep it interesting.
Well, they battled through a lot of adversity with all the COVID opt-outs and, of course, some injury issues and a transition certainly under center, Rick.
Yeah, he's been playing better, but before that, he was struggling, and he had a costly fumble. He's been really up and down. It's no big secret. I've not been the biggest Cam fan. I was kind of happy when he left because it was just time. And Bill Belichick, if he's gleeing about it, well, he has no choice to glee about it because that's all he has right now. Brady's gone, so he's stuck with them. Unless he really, really struggles and he puts in Stidham in, Cam's the guy right now. And I like what they're doing with him because it's something that the Panthers should have done because when Cam can run and throw, he's unstoppable. In his early days, their offense was great, but when you make him a pocket quarterback and you make him throw, then that's his weakness because his accuracy is not the greatest and he keeps throwing off his back foot. So if they use him like that, like they're doing, they're going to be fine. But I don't see them going to the playoffs. The Dolphins have improved. The Bills have improved. And one of their wins was against the Jets. It wasn't like they beat the 85 Bears. So, and that was actually kind of shouldn't have been that close. So, I don't see them making the playoffs. I think the reign of the Patriots is over, and I definitely like what Buffalo's doing.
Well, I mean, he's doing a good job resurrecting his career, and they got him cheap. So why not see if he can get a 1-year audition to see if he can continue playing? So we'll go from one resurrection or transformation project to another. And I'm speaking of Jameis Winston, who takes over for the injured Drew Brees. You're right, Mel. When you get hit hard and you crack ribs and you have a collapsed lung, it hurts. But it may not hurt for Jameis Winston. Do you think this is an opportunity for him to literally audition for the job, knowing full well that Drew Brees' next career move is in the broadcasting booth?
Absolutely. This is I don't think he could ask for a better situation. I mean, look what happened with Teddy Bridgewater when he had a couple chances to go out there and play, and look what he was able to parlay that into a nice little deal. So Jameis gets out there. I don't know if Drew's going to be out 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't know. They're talking about a couple weeks. I don't know. I've had broken ribs, and when I was younger, and they hurt then. And I can only imagine how much they hurt at 40 years old. How much more they hurt at 40 years old. So I don't know. He'll probably be out. I'm saying 4 weeks, maybe 3 to 4 weeks. You can probably get an injection in there, but I think you got to let the lungs heal. But anyway, this is great for Jameis. It's a great opportunity for him to see. Number one, what he's learned since he's been there. What has he learned from Drew Brees? What has he learned from Sean Payton? He was always a good thrower of the football. It's just that sometimes he made some bad decisions. He tried to squeeze some balls into some extremely tight windows, or windows that just weren't there, windows that he only saw. Plus, he got his eyes. He's got his vision fixed too. So this is a whole new Jameis. So he might be with new vision, with his eyes, with the LASIK correction that he had with his eyes, and with Sean Payton, we might be looking at like a Hall of Fame type player showcasing himself for the next couple of weeks, because we've never seen this Jameis. I think he's on a new diet. He's got a new coach, and he can see. This is going to be, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do.
Yeah, well, like you said, he was Sean Payton, and he took less money to learn from Sean Payton, and
he took what he could get.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody will give him anything.
Well, that's true, but now he had an opportunity to go out there, hold a clipboard, try to relearn the game of football, get another chance, Rick. And you think that Jameis Winston will indeed be the next starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints?
I don't know. I don't know about all that, Mel. I don't know if he's going to be like Tom Brady or Lou Gehrig, or he's going to just go in there, play lights out. We'll see. I mean, it just all depends if it's going to be the old Jameis or going to be the new Jameis. And I hope it's the new Jameis, because the old Jameis was like Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, you throw for 5,000 yards, but you have 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. Has he grown up? He had a lot of immaturity problems, a lot of issues off the field, but you haven't heard from that anymore. Hopefully this move with New Orleans kind of humbled him, and he had to take less money, and hopefully he learned from Drew Brees. We'll see what he does, I think he'll do fine, but it just all depends. And I think Brees will be out for a while. I mean, you have broken ribs. Not only that, he had a collapsed lung, and that's pretty serious. So I don't think I think he'll be gone for quite a while. So he could be like Bridgewater, some teams looking out there for a new quarterback. And if he plays really, really well, he does really good, there's some team out there that can possibly get him and sign him. Look at Bridgewater. He got a nice little deal out of it, like Mel said. So it'll be interesting, but do I think he's going to play lights out and take him all the way to the Super Bowl and all that stuff? No, I think he'll be all right.
Okay, now one more subject we're going to talk about tonight. The Pac-12 is approving non-conference games. There are a couple of conditions attached to this whole thing. First, a home game for the Pac-12 team. All Pac is one condition, so these non-conference opponents have to play in a Pac-12 building. You can see why. And number two, the other one is all Pac-12 testing and related protocols must be adhered to by the non-conference approval. Obviously, this is a move designed here to offset some of the cancellations within the conference in an attempt to try to qualify for the championship. What are your thoughts, Mel, since you're a Pac-12 guy anyways? about the Pac-12 inserting a non-conference where they have to play out west.
Yeah, I don't think it's qualified for the championship. I think what you're trying to do is trying to get, trying to send your seniors out the right way, giving them an opportunity to play as many games as possible. They're already playing a shortened schedule. I think they're playing 8 games or something like that in the Pac-12, and they don't have any room for errors in their schedule the way it's set up because they didn't give themselves any buffer weeks. So when a team has a COVID issue and a game is canceled, then that means it's canceled. They don't have the ability to reschedule that game, although they did do some things last week. And the other thing that's in that the Pac-12 is doing is that if another Pac-12 school is available to play the Thursday before the weekend, and they have, even if they scheduled a game with another team, a team outside the conference, they had to play that Pac-12 school. So that was kind of what Cal and UCLA, how they found themselves last week, because they were supposed to play some different opponents. And
right, exactly.
They end up playing each other. And actually, UCLA looked good at playing at 9 o'clock on Sunday. So they should probably do that every week, playing at 9 a.m. on Sunday, because they actually looked pretty good last week. I did watch a little bit of the game that they played, and they actually looked good. So, again, this is to send your seniors out the right way. Now you're playing. You decided you're going to go ahead and play. Now we got to make sure, because most of these kids are never going to play again. They're never going to have an opportunity to play organized football again. They're never going to have the opportunity to have those relationships in the locker room, because that's a special place. The locker room, a football locker room, is a special place for a lot of these kids. And if you spent 4 years or 5 years in a program and to go out like this, that's, my heart breaks for those seniors. It absolutely aches. You don't have fans in the stands. You're playing a shortened schedule. Don't know what the bowl season is going to look like. I know they have some bowl games set up, but you don't know what that's going to necessarily look like. Probably won't have any fans there either. So my heart just breaks for the seniors. They don't have an opportunity to, come back next year and get a do-over when there's a vaccine. There's not going to be scholarships available if that were to happen. They just can't do that. So it's unfortunate. So what all the Pac-12 is trying to do is just give their seniors as many opportunities as possible to go out there and play the game that they love, that they work so hard for, not only the last 4 or 5 years, but their entire lives getting up to this point, since they were 8 years old, probably playing peewee football. So I think it's a good idea. I think that there's a lot of the schools out there that are looking to schedule games, and they can do it on a short notice. And I think that's good. I think it's good for the players to have that opportunity.
Well, the games are usually scheduled for other opponents years in advance, so you may get that rare opportunity to play an opponent. But I do disagree with you a little bit, though, Mel, that while it's good to send seniors out on the right note, and it's good to also get more game film to potentially be scouted by the pros, there's so many games you have to play in order to even be considered to get into the college football playoffs. So if they can add another game or two that they would have lost, it certainly bolsters their chances of getting a shot at postseason play. But I think there's a win-win all the way around. I really do. Again, allowing the seniors to play. But, I read the article that they said that the Pac-12 knows that there's an opportunity to, hopefully get more teams in the college football playoff.
What teams are there? I mean, I don't know which teams are.
Well,
SC, and, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't go that far. I'm only interested in talking about the core of the whole subject is what we're really trying to do. Yeah. And that you have a lot of valid points, but there are championship considerations involved in this as well. And heck, if you're a school that never gets think about it. I'm going to a game tomorrow night, University of Massachusetts against Florida Atlantic. And how often would UMass get an opportunity to come here? Well, they need to fill in games and get enough games out there. So this is just an opportunity that you can get a game you ordinarily would have to wait to schedule out. So, but yeah, certainly I like the idea, and the fact that they're playing by their own rules. They have to play on those games are going to be televised on the Pac-12 network, in addition to what I mentioned moments ago, and that they have to follow protocols and in the home stadium. So, Rick, you're a West Coast guy. What's your take on this?
Well, I agree with you guys. I think it's a good idea. I feel bad for seniors as well. One of my friends, his son graduated from high school. He's a senior and missed everything, prom. I mean, his last game, everything, and it sucks. It's not right. It's not fair to them that their senior season it's going to be dominated by COVID. Everything's gone right now. So I like the idea. Like, why not have them go out and have somewhat of a normal season and get as many games as possible, because you don't know. The season could end like tomorrow. We just don't know, because COVID is surging so badly right now. And, the biggest mistake is leaving it up. Every governor has their own way of handling it. And it's all over the place, so there's no consistency there. So, that's the crazy part about it. But, squeeze in as many games as you can and cross your fingers, and hopefully they don't cancel the season is the way I look at it. So why not do it?
Okay, well, we'll stay on colleges. I have 5 games that should have been played. Okay, so we're just going to have a little fun with the 5 COVID games. Ole Miss was supposed to take out number 5 Texas A&M. That game has been postponed. My goodness, Jimbo Fisher is doing a pretty good job. That would have been an interesting matchup, Jimbo Fisher against Lane Kiffin.
I would have loved to have seen that. Maybe they can get them in a steel cage match or something, because, those guys are 2 big personalities. Jimbo's done a wonderful job with Texas. Florida State, a lot of people said, well, Florida State was going on the down low the last couple of seasons with Jimbo, but they have just not been good at all since he left. And then he goes to Texas A&M, and they're really, really good team under Jimbo. I like Jimbo. I'm a big Jimbo fan. I think he gets so unappreciated for his coaching, but look at Florida State now, and look at how good Texas A&M is now. So that would have been a good game. I think Texas A&M would have won. I don't think Ole Miss is there yet. I'm still not really sold on Lane Kiffin. I think he's more loud than anything else. He's just a very unusual character person, we'll see. But I would have picked. I think Texas A&M would have won easily in this game.
All right, Mel.
Well, yeah, it would have been a great game to watch. Jimbo, he is a good coach, I believe. I don't know what happened at Florida State. Something was going on there, and he basically, in my opinion, they ran him out of Florida State and chased him to Texas A&M, and obviously Texas A&M paid him a whole bunch of money too to leave Florida State. I like Lane. Ole Miss, they're only going to win so many games, and we're talking about the SEC here. We're not talking about the Pac-12. We're not talking about the ACC. Now this is the SEC. So Ole Miss is only going to win a certain number of games. Every now and again, they might get a player at a certain position, a quarterback position or something like that, that's a generational talent or something of that nature, and they might be able to compete for an SEC championship. But that's not going to be year in and year out. I mean, they're not going to get the best players at every position. They're not going to have the depth of the Alabamas. They're not going to have the depth of Georgia. They're not going to have the depth of Florida. They're not going to have the depth that LSU has. So, every now and then they'll be able to compete. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Lane can do there. I mean, I think he's learned his lesson. I think he's been humbled, after, being extremely arrogant when he left Tennessee and went back to USC, and then after things didn't work out so well at USC, and then coming to work with Nick Saban, I think he's been humbled, and he deserved the opportunity to coach at another big time program, and we'll see what he can do.
And he did a fine job over at Florida Atlantic University as well. He had a few good years there. So you talk about resurrecting your career, he did exactly that. So that game, by the way, has only been postponed, so I'm sure there's a chance he'll probably make it up later on. Georgia Tech against Miami also has been postponed. Mel, about Georgia Tech, it's in your backyard. Miami is having a decent year under Manny Diaz. So why don't you give me the inside? That too, as I mentioned, has been postponed.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd have been nice to see that game, but we've talked about, these campuses are no different than what's going on in the country. COVID is running rampant right now, and it's out of control, and it's unfortunate that we're going to miss some of these ball games. But obviously, player health and player safety comes first, and hopefully they'll get an opportunity to suit it up and play each other later.
Yeah, Miami's had 3 games that they have to reschedule. So the Hurricanes are definitely decimated with COVID issues. All right, Rick, what's your take on this game?
It would have been an interesting game. I think Miami's done, they're getting better. I like them. And it's unfortunate, unfortunately, Florida has been just decimated. Every other state has, but Florida's one of the worst states with COVID right now and deaths. And it's just been awful right out there and everywhere else. But I would have picked Miami to win this game over Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech is just, they're, to me, kind of a blah team. But I would have picked Miami. I think they're heading in the right direction.
Right now, Michigan State was supposed to take on Maryland. Obviously, that game has now been canceled. The Maryland Terrapins have an outbreak, and that includes their coach, Michael Locksley. So I mean, obviously, in the Big Ten, when you lose a game, you simply lose it.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan State is awful. They have just, they're just not very, very good right now. Had a lot of lopsided losses right now, and I probably would have picked Maryland on this one, but it's just unfortunate. It's just everywhere. It's just dominated by COVID. It doesn't matter what you do. You can just be in your own little bubble. I know I just stay at home, and when I go out, I wear a mask when I go get my mail, or go to the corner store. I always wear my mask wherever I go. And then flu season's coming around and people are coughing and sneezing and people are just so afraid, like, oh God, I hope I don't have COVID, when it's probably just, allergies going around right now, and so it's scary times right now, but safety is much more important right now. And, having a football season, I give them an A+ for trying, but doctors warned us that COVID was going to be really aggressive during the cold times. That's when it really works. And they weren't kidding. And I don't think they really prepared that it was going to be this bad, and unfortunately we got people who are just not abiding by the guidelines. So it's going to be a tough year, but I give college football and all sports an A+ for trying. So we'll see what happens.
So Mel, what's your take on what would have been with Maryland against Michigan State? Mel Tucker as a coach. The only win the Spartans had is against the Michigan Wolverine.
Yeah, they didn't have to win another game this year. They've had a great season. They beat the big brother, so he doesn't have to win another game this year. He's probably got an extension waiting on his contract, on his desk to go sign. But again, it's unfortunate. Head coach for Maryland has COVID. It's great being an opportunity. It would be great to see Tua's little brother, see him play again, but this is a different time. It's a very unusual time. It's very unfortunate. You really, I mean, there's just nothing that you can depend on. Everything you kind of, just kind of shooting from the hip right now. It's just, you're just winging it, and you have to be flexible. You have to have extreme flexibility as players, coaches, administrators, whatever, had to have a whole lot of flexibility to be able to try to get through this season. This is going to be whoever's crowned champion at the end of this season will truly deserve it, because they really will have been tested in multiple ways this year.
Two more games we're going to talk about. Arizona State would have taken on Colorado.
That would have been a really good game, I like Arizona State. Herm's done not Herm, but Herm. Okay, yeah. So Herm has done a great job over there. I like Herm. I miss him on ESPN. He always he wasn't afraid to say his feelings, to express his feelings, and I wish he was still back on there, but I know he's happy being a coach, and I would have picked Arizona State in this one. I love Herm, and I like what they're doing over there. So it would have been a pretty good game. But unfortunately, maybe they'll reschedule it. Nobody knows anything right now what's going to happen, because COVID has just been so dominant. So, but it would have been a pretty good game, I think. So I would have had Arizona State winning that game.
Well,
I mean, it's sad. I mean, they've already had a game canceled last week. Now you're looking at a cancellation this week. I like the Fighting Herm Edwards, but they're 0-1 this year. They lost to SC in a game that they should have won. They really should have won that game against SC. They gave that game to SC. and let them win that. And then, to still have that taste in their mouth from that loss, and they have not had another opportunity to go out there and play again. I feel bad for the kids, man, because that was a terrible loss for them. And I'm sure they were anxious to get back out there to get that taste, wash that taste out their mouth. So, they're 0-1. Colorado's 2-0. They've been playing, decent as of late with Carl Durrell there, who was, he was at UCLA, a wide receiver at UCLA when I was there. He coached at UCLA for a minute, and they ran him out of there, and now he's back in the Pac-12 over here at Colorado. So I'm happy for him. Glad he's got another opportunity. Unfortunate, would have been a good football game, but it's unfortunate that we won't get an opportunity to see it.
And one that was supposed to be played tonight, Utah State against Wyoming. Those are interesting shootouts up there usually for the most part.
Yeah, very cold places too. So, unfortunately, COVID likes the cold, and I feel bad for these states that are like Wyoming and Colorado and, all these, Minnesota, how are people going to react if it snows and there's a blizzard? And that's what my fear is about these extremely cold states. So, it would have been a pretty good game. I think it would have been like a high scoring game. Both teams are pretty good, and, they could have gone either way. I'd probably pick Utah, in that game, but, it would have been, I think it would have been like a 40-something to 50-some game, one of those games that were it gone to maybe double overtime or something like that. And, it'd be, they'd still be playing till like 2 a.m. It'd be one of those crazy games or something like that. So I think it would have been a fun game, but unfortunately we can only talk about it or think about how it's going to go. So it's just unfortunate all around.
Yeah, Utah State against Wyoming. All right, Mel, what's your take on that? Then we'll pick a few pro games and wrap it up.
Yeah, obviously you're trying to get a season in for the kids, for the seniors. You're trying to send them out with as many ball games as possible. I would be hurt, if I was only able to scheduled to play 6 or 8 games, and then, 3 or 4 of them get canceled. So I'm only played 5 games my senior year. And it's not even about putting things on film to potentially play at the next level, because we know the vast majority of these kids are not going to play at the next level. It's just a matter of, putting on that uniform one more time and going out there with your teammates and battling and the practice, all the things that it takes in order to go out there and play, the weight training that you put into it, the conditioning that you put into it. It's just really sad. I really feel bad for these kids. I truly do. I wish there was another way that they could resolve it, but there just isn't, because time is going to keep moving, and it waits for no one. And it's unfortunate. They just happen to be born at the absolute wrong time, and they're having to deal with this. And I feel bad for them, really do. But, life is more than sports. Life is more than football. But, football, it's a big part of it, especially for a kid going to school. That a lot of kids, that's the reason why they go to school, is, to participate in sports. It makes going to school that much more fun when you're participating in sports. You're not only competing on the gridiron, but you're also competing in the classroom as well. So it's just unfortunate.
Okay. All right, let's go on to some pro games. Tonight, Arizona Cardinals at the Seattle Seahawks. Arizona 6-3 against Seattle 6-3. What a finale for Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins against the Buffalo Bills. All right, I'm going to ask you guys just to make a prediction, and that's it. All right, so who do you have, Mel?
Yeah, that's tough. That is tough.
I don't make these games easy. You know that.
Yeah. I'm going to go with, Seattle's been having a hard time. That defense has been tough, man. That's my guy over there, too. Tough. But I don't trust Arizona too much, so I'm going to have to go with Seattle. I'm going to have to pick Seattle probably 28-17.
Rick? Yeah, and this is a tough one as well. Seattle is they've been struggling. And Arizona, they're like Tampa Bay. They're like Jekyll and Hyde. Kyler Murray looks fantastic. That was a phenomenal game, phenomenal finish. I'm going to go with a mini upset. I'm going to go with Arizona right now. I think right now Seattle's just been struggling, and Russell can only do what he can. But I think that win was a big high for them, and I think they'll use that game as momentum for the Seattle game.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with the Cardinals as well. I like Kyler Murray. I like DeAndre Hopkins, and Arizona's a pretty good team. I think they'll hit their stride pretty soon in a division where you have three teams that are 6-3. On to the next one in your neck of the woods, Rick. The Lions are 4-5 against Carolina Panthers 3-7. What do you have, Rick?
Poor Panthers. He started out so good. I had him as my surprise team, but right now they are not playing very well. I'm actually going to go with the Panthers. They're going to have to snap that losing streak. Stafford has had a bum thumb, and I know P.J. Walker will be starting for the Panthers and no McCaffrey, but, I think, I'm just not a big fan of Patricia, and I think somewhere they probably will lead in that game, and I just have a feeling he's going to do something stupid, and the Panthers will come back and have an ugly win on that game. So I'll have Panthers in this one.
Mel?
Yeah, it's not an easy one here to pick either. Two teams not doing very well. The Lions always figure out a way to lose, so they are playing in Carolina. So I would have to pick Carolina, to win by not much. It won't be pretty, that's for certain, but I have to pick Carolina.
Believe it or not, I'll go with Detroit anyways. Although Matt Prater with a 59-yard field goal saved the Lions from really getting mud on their face and bailed them out. 59-yard game-winning field goal. Time expired. The Lions have won more games on the road than they have at home. I anticipate the same thing on Sunday. I'll be watching it up there, probably in my hotel room or over my folks. Nevertheless, I'll go Detroit. Green Bay against Indianapolis, another tough one. This game's indoors, though, at Lucas Oil Field. Who do you have? Now, I call this the AARP Bowl between Aaron Rodgers and Phillip Rivers.
Well, Aaron's not, Phillip just looks a lot. I mean, he's not too, what is he, 38 or something like that? Aaron's not as old as Phillip. So, he would be his feelings would be hurt if he heard you say something like that.
Well, I don't
I would pick Green Bay to win that game. I think, again, and I know I said that before about Phillip Rivers just sitting, standing back there, just being a stationary target for defenders to rush the passer. But he ended up winning that particular game. I forgot who that was. I picked him to lose, but I'm gonna pick Green Bay in this game here. I think I'm gonna go with Green Bay, and I think they'll win it.
Rick?
Yeah, we're talking about Phillip Rivers. He wasn't playing good. He had a phenomenal game last week, and they won pretty decisively, and I didn't have them winning that game. I thought, that Phillip, he had a great game. That was the best game he's had since being with the Colts. And, Green Bay's another team, they beat up these really bad teams really good, but when they played like a good team, they just don't play that well. So, and Indianapolis is at home, so I'm going to go with Indianapolis in this one in a mild upset.
And I'll go with the Packers to win this one as well. Aaron Rodgers playing indoors. The Packers need to win, and they need to win. They have the best record in the conference with the anticipation that all roads should lead to Lambeau Field at the very end if things go their way. Okay, we've got 4 more games to talk about. Tennessee Titans against the Baltimore Ravens, 2 teams that are 6-3. Who wants to take this one?
Who was it again? I'm sorry.
That's okay. Tennessee Titans against Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore.
Ooh, that's another good one.
Both 6-3. It's supposed to be a good one.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's like a toss-up one. I'll probably go. Tennessee. Start out red hot, and they've come down to earth. Baltimore. They've been kind of inconsistent. They beat a really good. They do well against those bad teams. I'm going to go with Baltimore only because they have the home field advantage. To me, it's just a toss-up, but I'll go with Baltimore in this one.
Mel?
Yeah, that's a tough one there. It's a real tough one. Wow.
Making it hard on you two guys.
Yeah, you make it real hard.
Yeah, that's a toss-up. We
Derrick
don't know.
Henry has been doing this year, man. He's almost at 1,000 yards. Running the ball, you like what they do. I mean, they're very comfortable with what they do. They like to play dirty. They like to play ugly football. They like to win ugly, and I appreciate that. As an old school guy, I appreciate it how they like, how they both of these teams play. I mean, both of them like to win ugly. So, man, but if I was gonna have to pick, I guess I would have to go with Baltimore to win this one.
Yeah, I'll go with Baltimore too. They need this in the worst way because on Thanksgiving Day get the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they don't want to at some point lose 2 in a row and fall to 6-5 and not make the playoffs. All right, I'll make this next one easier on you two guys. Miami travels to Mile High to take on the Denver Broncos. Dolphins going to the game 6 up, 3 down. Denver take the record, switch it around, 3 up, 6 down.
Yeah, I like Miami in this. I think Tua is doing his thing. I think people, are liking Tua. They're undefeated since he's been there. Miami, Denver is just not a very good team right now. They're just not very good right now. So I like Miami. They have all the momentum going, and I think Tua's put a little kick in their step right now, and then they're 3-0 since he started. So Miami should win this game very comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, as much as you like to pick the upset and say that Denver will win this game, and because of the altitude or anything like that, they're just not a very good football team. I don't think they're I don't think they're coached very well. That team's in disarray. So I'd pick Miami as well.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins cruise to win up in Mile High. 2 more games. They're not going to be easy. I know you guys have struggled with these first so many, and you'll probably struggle again. The Kansas City Chiefs go to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. The Chiefs are 8-1. Their lone loss thus them to the Raiders. And the Raiders 6-3, but they have a bigger battle on their hands. They're dealing with COVID problems, and they're dealing with them in a lot of ways. Losing lots of players, getting fined, losing draft choices. But there you go. The Chiefs 8-1 against the Raiders in Vegas. Okay, Rick, you live there. Who are you going with?
Well, I'm going to go with the Chiefs in this one. Raiders right now are decimated with COVID right now, and it's really, their fault. I mean, they've been warned. Gruden wasn't wearing his face mask, and then he got fined for that, and then they got fined again, and it was so bad that they got draft picks taken away. They're just not taking this seriously. It seems like it. Sean Payton, who had COVID, was in trouble because he was dancing with his teammates in the locker room, and it's just, I don't get it. But, they're just rashed with COVID, and it's no fault of the Raiders of their own. And the Chiefs are, they're 8-1, and they got the best quarterback in the NFL right now, and Patrick Mahomes. So I don't even think this will be close.
No.
Yeah, I picked the Raiders. I picked Kansas City in this game as well, for pretty much all the reasons that Rick talked about. It's hard to have some continuity when guys are out, can't practice because of COVID, and then you expect to go out there and be able to play a ball game. So yeah, I definitely think that Kansas City will win this game.
Yeah, I do too. I think that it's hard enough to play the Kansas City Chiefs with all your healthy players, let alone spot them with a few players that aren't healthy. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs in this one to roll by the Raiders. Last game on Monday night, the Rams 6-3 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 7-3. Tom Brady got embarrassed the last time on national TV. Will he be able to make amends and finally win a nationally televised game with the Buccaneers? All right, Mel, take this one.
Yeah, I don't think that Tom wants to be embarrassed again on national TV, so I think they'll come out ready to play, and Tom will be ready to play, and Tampa will be ready to play, and I think they'll beat the Rams, unfortunately.
Okay,
yeah, right. I know the LA connection. Okay, Rick?
Yeah, I have Tampa Bay winning this one as well. I don't think Tom wants to get embarrassed again, and he's got so much pride in himself and his legacy, and Rams are just so inconsistent, and I'm just not a huge fan of golf at all. Never have been, never will be. I'm not I don't think Tom's going to look bad twice on a televised game. So I have Tampa Bay winning this one.
I do too, but I think the Buccaneers are going to win a close game inside of 7 points for sure. So we'll see. And again, I don't see him losing to bad games on national TV. All right. As we get ready to wrap up the program, Mel, why don't you let everybody know how they can get a hold of you?
All the social media, I can be reached at Mel Farr Jr. That's Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, at Mel Farr Jr. My email is melfarjr@gmail.com. And then you can check out what we have going on here in Atlanta and also up in Detroit for the youth at melfarr.org. You go to our website, melfarr.org.
Go ahead, Rick. You can contact me on my website at www.charlottebats.com. Our email address is cltbatsbaseball@gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook at Charlotte MLB. I also have another page on there on Charlotte Bats Baseball. I'm also on Instagram at Charlotte Bats. And I'm on Twitter, Charlotte Bats Baseball. And you can also find me on LinkedIn under Rick Curti. And you can contact me on any of those social media websites.
Rick Curti does a fine job helping us, South Florida Tribune, making sure he helps our social media department, sharing our content as well. We appreciate you there. All right, as far as we're concerned on social media, you can find us at Twitter at Tribune South. That's at Tribune South. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. Follow us at South Florida Tribune. We have a YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, South Florida Tribune, and you'll have the opportunity to see many fine shows such as the Sports Exchange, 108 Stitches Baseball Talk, for which Rick does a lot of great work, No Limits, Fantasy Football. We have on there the Real and the Rare. And so we've got, and the South Florida Tribune podcast. So each and every one of those broadcasts is great. They do what they've got to do. And you can all follow them with the South Florida Tribune by subscribing to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. Our website is www.southfloridatribune.com. You can find the Motor City Monitor on there where we share a lot of Detroit news, Michigan news, as well as our media distribution partners, as well as our columnists. And more importantly, you can find the broadcast on there as well. You can email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Any ideas, questions, or comments, suggestions, feel free to let us know. We'll be more than happy to get those out there for you. You can also, as well, so once again, southfloridatribune.com and southfloridatribune@gmail.com to email us. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Scott Morganroth. And if you want to hear the audio portion of this broadcast, you can go ahead and find us through iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts, and Spreaker. So, Rick, why don't you go ahead and wrap this show up here by giving the COVID message, please.
Well, guys, like I said, I wish I had some better news about it, but it's so out of control right now. It's like a wildfire. People just need to step up. It's just got to hunker down, wear a mask, social distance. I know it's irritating, it's frustrating. I know people got COVID fatigue. They're tired of it and want to go out. And I know it's going to be rough during the holidays because people want to travel there and see their family and things like that. But, the vaccine should be coming soon. And I think once that comes in, things will get a lot better. But during the meantime, just wear your mask, social distance, use sanitizer, anything you can do, use some common sense. Don't put yourself in jeopardy or put other people in jeopardy. Just, like I said, it's not fun, but it's just something we have to do now. This is a pandemic that we haven't seen anything like this since in over 100 years. We'll probably never see anything like this in our lifetime again. Hopefully not. So as frustrating as it gets, just wear a mask, social distance, and if you need to stay at home and there's nothing really for you to do out there, just stay at home and be safe.
Couldn't agree more. And I want to wish everybody out there a happy Thanksgiving as well. That's coming up next week, and be safe. And then look forward to our next edition of the Sports Exchange. So on behalf of Mel Farr Jr. and Rick Curti, my name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Man. Mel, thank you for joining us on this edition of the Sports Exchange, and we will catch you on the next episode. Goodbye, everybody.